Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to ask the Honourable Minister of Mineral Resources, Ms. Susan Shabangu, to join us in signing the pledge, which she just did, and deliver the keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honourable Minister, Ms. Shabangu.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Program Director, Mr. Mashilo, this is so unfair. I've just said that to the CEO. I'm made to sign, but I'm not going to share in the spoils. That's very, very much unfair. I commit myself, at the end of the day, I'm not going to get anything. But thank you very much for inviting me. Program Director, MEC, Mr. Mukwena, our Mayor, Mr. Tsotetsi, the Speaker, Mrs. Klapo, MMC members who are present today, and councillors with us today, Mr. Fedi Dipenar, CEO and President. You know, I find it a bit odd and interesting, this kind of a title. In one of my state-owned enterprises, which is Mintech, we have the same problem, CEO and President. So I don't know which one becomes the best. And my CEO likes to be called the President, because it gives a better prestige than the CEO. So I don't know how should you deal with it with yourself. Members of the media, management of the company, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I must say, I am proud today to be part of this day. But also, it's a day which reminds me of the first time, almost around this time, Mr. Dipenar, when you visited our office, when we had challenges around this particular area, when there were a lot of challenges in terms of poverty and communities. As we stand today, almost a year ago, I am happy that we are relatively stable in this particular area. I know that it's not absolute, but I think we're getting it right, and stability is starting to show in this area. I must also say, it's almost a year when I was in Canada, as we indicated that you have Canadian links. And I had to account and assure your shareholders there to say, will you be able to proceed with mining in this country, especially in this particular area? As you know, as politicians and leaders, you must make sure that you give surety, you give guarantees, in a way that tells the truth. I'm happy I've managed to do that, because we stand here and we are proud that you have managed to continue with your mining, and you're doing quite well. I'm very proud of that, and I'm happy you didn't let me down, because I'm going back to Canada again at the beginning of next month. I don't know what was I going to say if this mine was not up and running. So I would like to thank management, Vusi as the general manager, and your whole team in the company, that you didn't see it as a negative. You stood to the challenges in the area and made sure that you rise above all the problems which existed. So I would like to thank all the members of the team in making sure that my words don't fall on a barren land, but it has yielded results. Thank you very much. The month of February for us also marks an important calendar date for South Africans. This is the month 21 years ago that the father of our democracy, our icon, Nelson Mandela, was freed from prison after a protracted struggle by our people to achieve the freedom. And the freedom he fought for was not just the freedom to be free, but also it was a freedom for emancipation of all South Africans, a freedom for economic freedoms, a freedom for all South Africans, a freedom of non-racialism, where all people in South Africa can live side by side, black and white. And we are proud as we stand here to say, we want to say to our father, get better. We love him. I think even the audience here loved him because what he lived for and what we've benefited as we stand today, it's because of his commitment. And we must ask ourselves, how many of us would have been able to be like him and ensure that he lives for the people of this country, as we all know today that he lived for the world, not only for South Africans. For the people of Balfour, I must say, as we are here today, it's important that they need to recognize and realize the significance importance of this mine, which is Burnstone. It also marks the beginning of a better future for the people of Balfour, especially Siatemba. We hope as they continue this year, they will be able to recognize that building a mine, it's not an event, it's a process. What goes around this area cannot be an event. An event is what we have today, but what we're coming to observe and see today, it's a process. It's a process which will make sure that it brings on board a difference to our people. It's a process which will create a better future for people around here. And I must commend the company for always being part of the people. As we know that last year our president visited this place, responding to the challenges, it was also around this time, responding to the challenges faced by people around here. And he called for calm in this area, and through the commitment made by Burnstone, you're not Burnstone, you're Burnstone, Burnstone company, the promise of bringing calm in this particular area happened because our president, through this company, was able today to meet the promises which he had made to the people of Mpumalanga as a whole, but mainly here at Siatemba, making sure that they are able to get jobs to become better. And I am proud. I've just asked Vusi here how many people are employed. And he has just told me that we are currently employing 1,100 today. This bears the testimony and the promises that you've made, which means that the social contract you have with the people of Mpumalanga and the government of Mpumalanga has been fulfilled. And may you continue doing that with your team. I know that it has taken some time for you to be able to reach it, to achieve this. You might have thought at some point that you must give up, but we really, I know you said it at some point when we met, that you might be forced to shut down. I'm happy you didn't take that route. And we want to say, keep up the good work. You might not be able to achieve wholly the needs of the people, but your contribution today as Burnstone is very important to a South African economy. I must also come to a point which is very critical. I am proud to say today, I agree with yourselves and Vusi to say, indeed, you are a different company because you operate during different era. I would have not expected you to open a gold mine like 100 years ago. If you did that, then I would have known that there's something wrong with this company. And you know, Program Director, if they were going to do Fanagalo, I would have withdrawn the license. Because the era of Fanagalo no longer exists in our current dispensation. Indeed, we have young people almost to have matrics. The challenge is that they might not be able to get jobs because the challenges of today, as I've said, are different from the past. It also means These days you have a matric, you have a basic. It's unlike in the past. You know, in the past, when you had a standard 6 certificate, you were able to get a job of being a clerk, and you were like, have achieved. At some point, when you had a JC, you had achieved, which was like standard 8. At some point, if you had a matric, you had achieved. But today, you have not achieved. That's the beginning of your life. And hence, the issue which we are faced with as a country, it's a challenge of unemployment with those with matrics. But because young people live in a different environment and nurtured by parents who always believed that when their kids have matric, then they are well learned, so they can get a job. And these days are not the same. So we welcome accepting the beginning of matriculants who can then pursue various careers within your company. We also want to welcome from yourselves the way you've brought together communities in this area, the way you've made sure that you meet the challenges, social responsibility by various communities. I also want to refer to our president during his State of the Nation address last week. He said we need to create more jobs. Yes, 1,100 might not be sufficient through the naked eye of the local communities. But where I stand today, I think that's the right step. That's a big contribution in changing the lives of many, many families, because 1,101 jobs means many, many individuals in different families. So we really want to welcome that. I also want to quote our president when he said, I quote, "We have introduced a new growth path that will guide our work in achieving these goals. Working within the premises that the creation of decent work is at the center of our economic policies. We urge every sector, every business entity, regardless of size, to focus on job creation. Every contribution counts in this national effort." That's exactly what you've done. You've responded to the call by the president. And ladies and gentlemen, we must really take pride the way Burnstone has responded to our policy position and our call by the president. And I'm confident that they will respond even much, much more to this particular call. They have responded because when we talk about skills development, they are responding. I remember, I don't know whether I said this, maybe because I meet too many people, Mr. Dipenar, I said to you, I think I did mention this, to say, I don't believe that learnerships of hairdressing addresses the challenges of this industry. You know, my experience when I came in 2009, many companies were offering learnerships. And when we scrutinize those learnerships, we discover that they're offering bakery, they're offering hairdressing. We want to be pretty as women, and men want to have nice cuts. But the challenge for mining communities is that in the mining community, you cannot provide hair salon to the mining environment, especially at the workplace. Yes, we'll have 2, 3, but it does not create sustainable growth. So I am proud to say today, we hope the learnerships which are provided here are appropriate to the needs of the company. It's the kind of learnerships which will help us in making sure that there are artisans, plumbing, welding, vusi, so as to meet the challenges and the needs of the company in an appropriate way. As this government, indeed, we have a policy which you've quoted that you include women. I've just asked you, the women who are here in your leadership team, again, you make us proud because it's not just numbers, It's women of substance. They are going to add value to the company. You said one who's very critical is an environmental manager. Very key for the mining sector in the sense that we need to mine in a sustainable way, in a responsible way. So I want to see more women, unfortunately, more women who can be experts. This is important because when you engage more women as a company and you involve more women, they are more responsible. Excuse me, gentlemen, women are more responsible and they care as they do their work. And that's what we need in this country. But also, as we know that most women, they take care of families. We always say in my organization, which is the ANC Women's League, if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. I don't want to say when you educate a man, what happens. But in my organization of women, we believe that women take more responsibilities. I must also say, I am proud to see more black people in the management team. People like Vusi, I've seen, was it Sibusiso and Freddy? Sichaba, I didn't see Sichaba, so Freddy. Yes. So we need to see more of Freddy, Sichaba, more of Mashilo in ensuring that this particular company becomes sustainable. I would also like to pose a challenge to the company. You know, Mr. Dippener, when you leave, I would like to see you having mentored and groomed a black CEO who can take over from you. I know that you're still very young, which creates an opportunity for you and allows you space to leave a legacy for us of a black CEO, and which in future you'll reflect and realize that you've done well, and you'll pride yourself as a miner in this country, but also globally, because that's one of the hurdles which we still have to ensure that we go through in South Africa. In the mining sector currently, we don't have black CEOs. I'm talking about black CEOs who are like you, who are miners. You know, me, I can be a CEO, but I'm not a miner. So we need real CEOs who will understand mining, who will contribute positively and rise to the challenges which are of health and safety. I hope Vusi, you know, I'm not a geologist nor a mining engineer, but at least I understand your language, you see. The slopes and all those things, I understand them. I hope as you deal with your technical aspects, matters of safety will always be a priority in this company. We cannot go back to a gold mine which works like in the past. I would expect you to have no fatalities if possible, especially now that you've responded to issues of technologies, you are mechanized, so I believe that will minimize accidents in this particular mine, because I think that's the future we need. I must also indicate the developmental program and trust which you have in this particular area are very positive. You need to continue in that way. And we are confident that you will make it if you continue believing. I don't know what is your policy. I know mine is government, but I don't know yours. But I think the policies you're implementing currently are the right ones. They are people-centered, people-driven. Very, very important. Because that's the only way you can hold together and make sure that the communities around this area recognizes that this is their mine. It's not your mine. You know, in life, when you start saying it's yours and mine, you draw a line. There's no sense of collective responsibility. But in this way, the community around here, I hope they'll continue embracing you and taking ownership of this mine, seeing it as their mine, not as your mine, because in that way they can protect it and they'll make sure that they will guard it jealously, whatever happens in this area. The point I also want to raise, as a new mine, I would pose a challenge on issues of health. Gold sector or gold mining is still faced with challenges which you've raised in your pledge, and I hope the managers we have signed will live to the pledge. Silicosis, cancer, and all those issues are still a challenge in the gold sector. So we hope you will be a mine, as you've done and been unique in South Africa, do research and make this mine to respond to those issues in a way that workers are not going to be affected. And I think if you are able to do that, then we'll say you've brought in a uniqueness in this country, not in terms of how you perform, but also in terms of wellness and health of workers in your mine. It's a challenge. We've got to work together, but we've got to find a solution in making the gold sector become better when it comes to issues of health. And in conclusion, I want to say, keep up the good work, but as part of the struggle of making sure that more women are empowered, we would want to hear the company pledging us a scholarship in the department of a woman. We're recruiting young women who are doing their grade 12 and offering scholarships from poor rural communities. So I would really feel that if I can be offered one scholarship for one girl child, my visit to this mine would not have been in vain. Just one, not a lot. For us to give to a young girl next year and make this particular mine become important in the lives of women. We're doing this because we think, as a mining destination country, we cannot continue with mining like in the past where it's not known. We've got to make sure that there's awareness amongst our people. Young people can appreciate the role of mining globally, but mainly in South Africa. So my visit, I hope, will be will mean that one scholarship to one girl child for 2012. It's not a big demand, it's just a little one. It's not a little one. And the advantage is that with this little one, I don't have to declare, you see, because it's contribution to the community, not to myself. But I must say, thank you very much. Congratulations for your contribution and responding to the call of government. We hope we'll continue to work with you. We hope some of the challenges you have and we have will work together. This year, it's our year of review of the acts. You have, I must say, complied with some of the issues which are stipulated in the charter, and definitely you will not see my inspectors applying Section 54 in this company. But also you're still very young, so you don't have to experience the challenges of the old mines which are struggling currently. You mechanized, you're doing well. Good luck. See you in future when this mine comes to its end. I don't know it's when. And when that happens, you will leave a legacy which is better and good for the future and for our future generations without leaving Carletonville, which it's a challenge for us as a country, which it's not making our country better. So these are my words to say the future of Burnstone must be such that it leaves a community which is intact, which will continue to have jobs like we are doing today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I wanted to give you a hug.